Hello everyone, my name's Zenitsu, and I'm back with another Digimon deck profile video. So today I'm going to be taking a look at BT15, and BT15 offers us lots of new and powerful tools to be able to build and iterate on some new and existing decks. And today's deck I'm going to be taking a look at is going to be the Yellow Vaccine deck. So Yellow Vaccines has a lot of different ways that you could actually make the deck, making it one of the most versatile decks in the game. The main direction of the deck is going to be based mostly on your Mega Level Digimon, and your Mega Level Digimon has lots of different ways that you can shift it and incorporate your cards to best support it, covering various different gameplay strategies. Your build can be more aggressive or it could be more controlling, and then there's even variation for some solid in between. But no matter what version of the deck you end up with, the deck is going to be based around cards going in and out of your security and manipulating your security in general. The core engine for basically all builds is going to be centered around the Patamon engine, which is going to be BT14 Patamon and BT14 TK as some of the most important cards in the deck, enabling some of these builds to even be possible or viable to begin with. The biggest weakness of the deck is kind of dependent on which variation of the deck you tend to play, but the main thing is the fact that it is going to be interacting with your security, which is something that the opponent can disrupt. So with self-damaging, the concept will always have inherent risks, where the trade-off is you're going to have some overall higher abilities and higher thresholds in what you're able to do, but you're making it easier for the opponent to win. And the concept of healing in reverse is the fact that you're going to, well, be able to have higher levels of survivability, but generally lower overall damage output, and the fact that the opponent sometimes could even just out-damage your healing, so you're stalling with no tangible advantage, giving the opponent time to respond. So as far as just some of the different ways that we could approach the deck, because there is just a lot of different directions that you could go into, there is adding cards into your security. There's an armor style deck, there's a shaman style deck, there's 4 great dragons, there's angels, and there's even Shine Greymon as just a couple of ways that you could approach building the deck. So with all that said and done, let's just dive right into the deck profile and see what we're working with. Starting off with the Digitama, I am going to be running 4 copies of Kiaromon. So Kiaromon is just the best for removing cards out of your security, because it's allowing us to be able to gain the jamming ability when we do that, which in a more aggressive style deck means that our Digimon are going to be safer swinging into security. Having an egg that can give jamming is really, really good. Then, when it comes to the level 3s, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Patamon. So, BT14 Patamon is one of the most important cards in the whole deck because of just how this card functions. So, at the start of your main phase, you get to search at your security stack, then you get to Digivolve into a yellow Digimon with Vaccine in its traits for free. Shuffle your security stack, then if you Digivolved, you get to place a yellow card with Vaccine traits from your hand to the bottom of your security stack. So just enabling a free evolution, both removing a card and putting a card back in, triggers at both sides of the spectrum in terms of what Yellow Vaccine can do, and that's just insanely powerful all in one card. But it gets even better with its inheritable ability, where when a card is added to your security stack, you gain a memory, which it does see itself do after you evolve, so you're essentially gaining 1 memory for evolving for free into your higher stages. Next, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Kudamon. So this is just another Yellow Vaccine staple because it's going to be our deck's dedicated digging or searching tool, looking for our yellow Tamers and our other Yellow Vaccine traded Digimon. Then on top of that, the inheritable ability is just okay, where it's a when attacking ability. If there's 6 or fewer cards in both players' security, it's just a simple minus 2000 DP for some nice added removal. And then the last rookies could kind of be whatever you feel like you want it to be. I'm just going to be running some floodgates just to slow my opponent down, because we have 2 really decent in-engine floodgates in the form of Cutemon to stop the opponent from reducing their Digivolution costs, and Pillowmon stopping them from being able to play Digimon by effects, so that way they're going to actually have to pay for their cards if they want to play them. And then when it comes to the champions, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Angemon. So the BT14 Angemon is a really decent removal tool just because he has this nice when attacking ability where we get to delete him to activate one of the following effects, which is either A, gonna place one of the opponent's virus traded Digimon to the bottom of their security stack, or B, just have one of the opponent's Digimon get minus 5000 DP for the turn. And he even has a nice on-delete ability to combo with the fact that he is going to be deleting himself if we are planning on attacking with this card to remove something, to be able to put him to the bottom of our security stack, and if we have a Tamer in play, hatch a new egg in our raising area so we could reload right away, while him also having a nice inheritable ability if we're actually using him to climb, where we then get to, on delete, place a yellow vaccine traded card from our hand to the bottom of our security stack, having even more ways to rig our security and heal us at the same time. Then I'm going to be running 4 copies of Bulkmon. So the BT6 Bulkmon is one of the most aggressive champions that we could possibly run because he has this ability where during your turn, while you have 3 or more cards in your security, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So usually in the early stages of the game is when we're actually going to be trying to use this card to deal as much damage as quickly as possible, because him in combination with Patamon, in combination with our egg to be able to give him jamming, just means that we have a very easy way to be able to aggress relatively safely onto the opponent. And then the last champion of the deck is going to be 4 copies of the brand new BT15 Gatomon. So this is a card that is interacting with the fact that it does want to be trashed from our security, so it's a really good card for us to want to throw in to try to line up that ability. So when this card is trashed from our security, we basically get to play it out for free, acting sort of like a security Digimon. Then it natively comes with Barrier, having some nice battle protection. The protection does come at the cost of burning a security, but as we kind of just established, that it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Then she even has a nice all turns ability on top of all that, where once per turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, you get to gain 1 memory, which we could use to either gain some extra tempo or take tempo away from the opponent. Then she even has the nice inheritable ability of being able to give our higher stage Digimon Barrier for some nice added protections. Next, on to the level 5s, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Angemon Ace. So Angemon Ace, not only is she an Ace Digimon, so she comes with a low play cost and the ability to potentially Digivolve for free on the opponent's turn, but also has some high levels of usability for what the deck is trying to do. So she has this on play and when Digivolving ability, where we get to trash the top or bottom card of our security stack and have one of the opponent's Digimon gain minus 6000 DP until the end of their turn. Then she even comes with a nice all turns ability herself, where once per turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, if you have 3 or fewer cards in your security, then we get to recover 1, having an alternative way to be able to stave off as much damage as possible, whether it's coming from us and our abilities or the opponent attacking into us. And then the last level 5 of the deck is going to be 4 copies of the EX5 Chirinmon. So this card is another really aggressive Digimon for us to use because his when Digivolving ability allows us to trash the top card of our security stack to be able to unsuspend this Digimon. So we could line up a super powerful turn where if we attacked it with our Bulkmon with jamming with security attack +1, then we could Digivolve into the Chirinmon, unsuspend the Chirinmon, and be able to continue the aggression that way. Then he even has a nice inheritable ability for us to take advantage of to try to stave off as much damage as possible, because his when attacking ability states that once per turn, if there's 6 or fewer cards in both players' security stacks, then we get to place 1 yellow card from our hand to the top of our security stack, having an alternative way at rigging our security and healing us. Then when it comes to the level 6s, these are the 2 level 6s that I based the entire deck around, and you can kind of play around with the ratios to fit what your personal needs are. But this is just what I ended up settling on, was 4 copies of the brand new BT15 Magnadramon. So this has a nice on-play and when digivolving ability, where we get to trash the top or bottom card of our security stack to give one of the opponent's Digimon minus 9,000 DP until the end of their turn. So it's doing the same type of thing as what we just saw with the Angelwomon Ace, just a little bit higher, and if you combine that with Angelwomon Ace, then it's going to have a minus 15,000 DP, which could remove a lot of potential threats. Then it even comes with a nice All-Turns ability, where when a card is removed from your security stack, if we have 3 or fewer cards in our security, we get to place 1 yellow card from our hand at the top or bottom of our security stack, allowing us again to have alternative ways at being able to heal and recover us when our security is low, because we're going to be dealing damage to ourselves a good portion of the time. Then on top of that, I'm going to run 2 copies of Kentorosmon. So the BT13 Kentorosmon is another fantastic card for just wanting to trash cards out of our security to use for extra benefits. His when attacking ability triggers once per turn, where we get to trash the top card of our security stack to unsuspend this Digimon and give one of the opponent's Digimon minus 7,000 DP for the turn. So it's still a lot of control elements while also adding in some extra aggression for us to be able to line up multiple consecutive attacks. Then he even has a nice on-play and when digivolving ability, where if there's 6 or fewer cards total in both players' securities, then we get to gain 3 memory, which could potentially help us make him even cheaper to use, cheaper than most other level 6s that we would have access to, on top of the fact that we get to reveal a card from our hand. If it's yellow, we get to throw it on the top of our security face down. If it's not, then we just keep it in our hand as an alternative way to be able to recover. Then when it comes to the level 7s, I'm going to be running 1 copy of Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. So Shine Greymon Ruin Mode is a yellow vaccine that's also a level 7, so we might as well just run it because it's just another really good card at being able to disrupt the opponent. So his when digivolving and on delete ability gives the opponent's entire field minus 5,000 DP, and he even has an end of attack ability to be able to try to coincide with his on delete ability, where we get to delete this Digimon and one of the opponent's Digimon and recover 1. Then if we have a Tamer in play, we get a Hatchet Digiegg into an empty space in our racing area, having another way to be able to reload when our Digimon are deleting themselves. Then if you don't necessarily have access to Shine Greymon Ruin Mode, or he's just a little bit on the expensive side, you could easily just run 1 copy of Omnimon Merciful Mode as a good substitute instead. And then when it comes to the Tamers, this is pretty much one of the most optimal Tamer lineups that we could run for any yellow vaccine deck, where it's going to be 4 copies of the BT14 TK. So BT14 TK lets us take the top card of our security and put it into our hand, and then we get to place a yellow vaccine traded Digimon from our hand to the bottom of our security stack. So that way we could try to start rigging our security with the cards that we want in there. On top of the fact that he does end up seeing this interaction, so it even triggers his secondary ability, where when a card is added to your security, we get to suspend this Tamer to gain a memory, which is really powerful at making this Tamer one of the most efficient Tamers that we could possibly run, especially since we do have ways to be able to add cards to our security to constantly trigger this ability. And then the other Tamer of the deck is going to be 2 copies of BT1 TK, just because it's one of the best consistency tools that Yellow has to work with, where not only is it a TK by name, but it's also going to be a memory setting Tamer, but to the fact that we get to look at our security with his on play ability and take any card from our security and put it into our hand is really, really good at using our security as an extra resource. Then if the card that we revealed was yellow that we're adding into our hand, we also get to recover 1, again having a way to be able to take cards out of our security and put cards back into it. And then when it comes to the option lineup, I'm just going to be keeping it really simple by running 4 copies of Physical Training because we're a monocolor deck and we might as well run the training for some extra consistency and extra tempo, with its delay ability to reduce the cost of our evolution after we already used it to be able to search the top 2 for any yellow card and add it into our hand. Then I'm going to be running 1 copy of Odin's Breath as another reward for trashing our security, so that way we could activate its main, and its main gives us some extra control, giving one of the opponent's Digimon minus 3000 DP until the end of the opponent's turn, while also allowing us to give a blanket security attack -1 to all of the opponent's Digimon if there's a total of 6 or fewer cards in both players' security when we use this card, and it's also a security threat in of itself in that aspect if we don't trash it out of our security to be able to use it on our turn. Then I'm also going to be running as the last option and last card of the deck 2 copies of Emissary of Hope, just to be able to use it like Hidden Potential Discovered to cheese our evolution and make them as efficient as possible. For the low cost of 1, we get to search our security stack. We get to have one of our Digimon Digivolve into a yellow level 6 or lower vaccine traded Digimon for free, shuffle our security stack, and if we have a TK in play, then we also get to recover 1, replacing the card that we just took out of our security. And its security ability is also pretty decent, allowing us to be able to put a Patamon from our hand or trash onto the field for free, and add this card into our hand, ready to use whenever we need it. But this is just my interpretation of a more aggressive style yellow vaccine deck, and as I already mentioned before, there's still just a ton of different things that you could do with yellow vaccines, because all it cares about is security interactions and the fact that your Digimon are, well, yellow and vaccine traded in order to utilize your abilities to the utmost potential. And there's still just a whole bunch of other useful cards that you could think about utilizing to customize the deck to your own liking, again depending on which variation that you're going to be shooting for and what Digimon you're going to play around with. And the deck, it does have some pretty solid potential future support, more so in the immediate future with angels and armors, but as long as they're going to be printing more yellow Digimon that are vaccines, this is always going to be a deck to want to look out for.